All right, welcome guys to the NBA live stream here for Saturday. We got an 8-game slate, and honestly, this is looking like one of my favorite slates of the year. I really do like this slate. Hope you guys had a good night last night. It went really well for me. Could have been a massive night. I did like 6-7x my money, but could have been even bigger if Embiid actually played the fourth quarter because he was like 5% owned in my contest. But no complaints. Also, yeah, Joe Ingles, I think had 20 points in the first quarter and then had like 2 fancy points the rest of the game. So, like, a couple of those things, maybe go my way. Maybe Embiid plays the fourth. Maybe Ingles actually does something in the rest of the game. Could have been a massive, massive night, but I'm not complaining. Got back in the winning column for the first time, feels like in a while for myself. So, all right, let's go over what we know so far in this slate. We'll take a look at the Vegas odds, then we'll go team by team, and then I'll get to questions at the end. So, some of the stuff is for Sunday. Derek White looks like he's good to go. Now, people ask me, does that hurt DeJounte Murray and DeMar DeRozan? And my answer to that question is very little, if not at all. I think it barely affects them. Derek White, in his first, he played one game so far this season. He played 19 minutes because they were limiting him. He's going to be limited again here. DeJounte Murray played 30 minutes in that game. I think DeMar DeRozan was mid-30s minutes. So, I think that the person that Derek White coming back hurts the most is probably, Patty Mills, Lonnie Walker. So, I am not really concerned about them. All right, Whiteside. Yeah, so Whiteside, mention him as a GBP play. He did get extended that last game because Holmes foul trouble. So just be careful there with Hassan Whiteside. Again, I think he's still in play tonight for GBPs, of course. But does he play? I don't think he plays 20 minutes again. So we got to, again, take that with a grain of salt. We have possible news that Porzingis might be rested, so that obviously would change some things. Would make a couple of those Mavs guys think a little bit more viable. Like the Mavs were a team that was kind of like Luka, and that's it. If Porzingis is out, I think Dwight Powell at basically min price is viable. Maybe James Johnson, right? So that'll something who we'll have to keep an eye on. Robert Covington is available to play. That's a downgrade to Melo. Downgrade to those wings for Portland. Jimmy Butler also available with Tyler Hero. And we have Iguodala available. Plus, we have news that I'm a little bit surprised about this. Jimmy Butler won't have a minutes limit. So I'm thinking I saw the reports that he lost 10 to 15 pounds. He doesn't look like himself, but there's no minutes limit. So I think Jimmy's a pretty intriguing GPP play at 7-3. It's a fantastic matchup. You guys know the Kings are the team I like targeting the best on any slate when they're on it. We saw what Toronto did to them last night. So Jimmy, I think, is a pretty intriguing GPP play that I don't think a lot of people will get to. Now, Nasir Little starting for Derek Jones Jr., I have no interest in him at min price. Zero. We've seen this a couple times in Portland. Little has started and literally played 10 minutes. I have zero interest in him at min price. Gary Trent also will remain in the starting lineup. We have Wall, Oladipo, Tate, Tucker, and Wood starting for the Rockets. Now, John Wall, I like him a good amount here for GPPs. He's below 7K. We saw 30 minutes the last time. I think those minutes continue to trend up. Maybe we get 32 to 34 minutes from him. Iman Shumpert will sign with the Nets. Oh, that's, wow. All right, we haven't seen him in the league in a couple of years. That's interesting. And no Bucks players will be rested. So, all right, why is college basketball showing up here? Okay, so let's go over some of the Vegas odds here, guys. We have Rockets and Pelicans. A 223 over-under. The Pelicans are 1.5-point favorites. Bucks and Hornets, a 230 over-under. The Bucks are 9-point favorites. Blazers and Bulls. This is my second favorite game to target. The Bulls are 1.5-point favorites. Love the upside in that game. I think you definitely could stack it. Kings and Heat. The Heat it's a 223.5 over-under. The Heat are 6.5-point favorites. Lakers and Celtics. I think you can pretty much cross this game off, in my opinion, from the slate. 218.5 over-under. Lakers are 3-point favorites. Memphis and the Spurs. 219 over-under only. The Spurs are 3.5-point favorites. This is my favorite game to target. I don't know. 219 seems low for that game. Suns and Mavs, a 215 over-under. The Mavs are 1.5-point favorites. And Pistons, Warriors, a 224.5 over-under. The Warriors are 5.5-point favorites. All right, guys. So let's start it off with Charlotte and Milwaukee. On the Milwaukee side, it's Giannis Antetokounmpo for me at 10.8K, and that's it. That's the only guy I have interest in on this team. Do like the matchup for him. He's played 36, 38, and 39 minutes the last 3 games, so the minutes are trending up for him in close games. Obviously, it's a good matchup. He can stuff the stat sheet. I think Giannis is a good spend up. Now, it is a back-to-back. Maybe they take it a little bit easier on his minutes, but I still think Giannis is one of the better spend ups in the slate if you can get him. Middleton at 8.5. I think there's too many good plays in the 6 to 7K, in the 5 to 7K range, kind of, that would make me want to get to Middleton. Same thing with Drew Holiday, Brolo, Bobby Portis. Minutes are going up and down in them. I think there's too many good center plays to take a shot on Lopez, in my opinion. So I'm just going to stay away from the rest of Milwaukee. On the Charlotte side, Gordon Hayward, I think, is a decent play in the mid-range. Small forward is kind of weak. I think he's a solid option. Minutes have been huge for him. 38, 38, 40, and 38. Back-to-back kind of dud games for him, but we've seen upside from Hayward, right? We've seen 50 plus. I think we've seen 60 a couple times from him. So, the upside is there with Gordon Hayward. He's at 7.3. Could you go there in cash? I think you could because of minutes alone, right? He's playing huge minutes, and I think he does have upside when he's playing well. So I do have some interest in Gordon Hayward. Graham, Rozier, too many good plays in that range for me to get to them. I'm not going to go to PJ Washington. LaMelo Ball intrigues me for GPP only. People always ask me, what do you expect for LaMelo Ball minutes? I have no idea. I would say somewhere from 20 to 30 minutes. Somewhere in that range, 20 to 30. Obviously, that's a big range. If he plays 20 minutes, he will most likely not get you there. If he plays 30 minutes, there's a really good chance he could break the slate. So it's one of those plays where I wish he was just not on the slate because, if I don't have him and he plays 30 minutes tonight, there's a very good chance he breaks the slate at 5-6. But also, if you take a shot on him and he only plays 20 minutes, there's a really good chance he will not get you there. So it's just one of those plays where it's a guessing game. It is literally a guessing game with his minutes. I think he's a good GPP play for that reason, right? It was literally the same thing with Chris Boucher last night, right? Boucher, I was hey, if he gets close to 30 minutes, he will probably break the slate. But there's also a chance he only plays 15 minutes. I think Boucher played under 15 minutes. So the same exact play, I would categorize that. I have no idea about the minutes. If the minutes are there, he will most likely have a great game. Cody Zeller at 4.5, I think is a pretty safe play here. Now, he did get some foul trouble. That is the one concern. Still played 26 minutes in that game with only playing 8 minutes in the first half. So, what is that, 18 minutes in the second half? Can we expect over 30 from Cody Zeller? I think we can. I think around 30, maybe a little bit more if he stays out of foul trouble. Bismack Biyombo is basically out of the rotation, which kind of solidifies Cody Zeller as a good value play. So as long as there's no foul trouble for Cody Zeller, I think he's actually a really good play at his price. I do like Cody Zeller, and that's it for me on the Charlotte side. Portland, Chicago, one of my favorite games to target here. Damian Lillard at the top at 10-6. If you're comfortable with enough of the value, I like his upside a lot here. We could see 60, 70-plus game from Lillard in this spot. No McCollum, no Nurkic still. The issue is 10-6. It's not like we're getting him an amazing discount, but I do like Dame a good amount at the top if you can get to him. I have interest in Enes Kanter as well. 32, 33 minutes last two games. This is a smash spot against Chicago. He should be able to have his way on the boards. He went for 23 rebounds 2 games ago against an Gafford or an undersized Thad Young. Kanter should be able to feast. So he's one of my favorite plays in tournaments. 7-1, again, we're not getting him an amazing discount, but I do like Kanter a good amount. Now, with Robert Covington coming back, I think that hurts Melo, makes him riskier play. Not completely out of play, but I'm not as excited about Melo now with Covington back. Also, downgrade Gary Trent Jr. He's still viable too, but very reliant on the scoring. And then, downgrade Simons, downgrade Hood. Just Covington coming back kind of hurts these guys. They're not completely out of play, but they're worse plays. And then I have no interest in Nasir Little starting. I just don't think we have to do it. Low usage guy. We might only see 10 to 15 minutes from him. Zero interest. All right, moving on to Chicago. So, Zach LaVine at 8.8K. He's one of my favorite plays in tournaments. I think he goes very much overlooked tonight. I think there's a lot of good plays in 6-7K range that people are going to go to. And then people are going to look to Luka. People are going to look to Lillard. Giannis at the top. LaVine's just at a tricky price point. He's going to be overlooked. I really like him in tournaments. It's a smash spot here against Portland. He's playing big minutes. I don't think he's an optimal play. So, if you're going to ask me, do you think, LaVine is a cash game play? Or do you think he's, optimal play? No, I don't think so. But I really do like his upside in tournaments. We've seen some huge games from Zach LaVine, and I love the matchup here. So, I do like LaVine a good amount for tournaments. One of my favorite plays in GPPs. Kobe White, out of play for me. Minutes are too inconsistent. Lauri Markkanen, there's too many good plays in that range for me to get really excited about him. I think he's fine, but not going to go there. Thad Young's the only other guy I'll mention here at 5K. Played 31 minutes last time. It's a good matchup against Enes Kanter. He will play a good amount at the small ball 5. I think he's a solid play. If I had to pick a second Chicago Bull player, it would be Thad Young. Gafford started, only played 11 minutes that last game. I mean, maybe if you get 20 minutes, he could be viable. I don't think it's worth the risk on the slate. I think there's too many good center plays, like for a little bit more, right? We have, Cody Zeller. We have Plumlee. We have Steven Adams, right? I just think are way safer plays for a couple, extra thousand or a couple of thousand more. So, I don't think it's worth it to go to Gafford. That's it on the Chicago side. All right, guys, let's move on to Sacramento and Miami. Real quick before we do, if you guys do enjoy this content, if you could leave a like button, or hit that like button and subscribe. Let's aim for 100 likes on this live stream. Again, I'll be live for another 25 minutes. LaVine and Cash, I would not play LaVine and Cash. No, but I think he's a good GPP play. On the Sacramento side, so De'Aaron Fox at 8-2. Again, a contrarian play. Still viable, but not a priority for me. Holmes okay, so we got to take a look at this, right? He only played 26 minutes, and he fouled out. So, yeah, that's the reason why Whiteside played more. Whiteside played 20 minutes. He played 16 the previous game. We might only get 10 minutes out of Hassan Whiteside tonight. So just be careful here. This is the same thing I'll say about LaMelo Ball, is if I knew Hassan Whiteside was going to play 20 minutes tonight, I would lock him in my lineups. Absolutely lock him in, because he's that good of a point per minute guy at basically min price. But I think there's a chance he might only play 10 minutes. It's a revenge game narrative if you guys are into that. Maybe he's out for blood. I don't know. So it's just be careful here. He got extended because of Holmes' foul trouble. I don't think we get 20 minutes again unless we get some sort of Holmes foul trouble. So just be careful here. Yes, he went for 32. Yes, he's good point per minute guy, but I don't know. He might only play 10 minutes. I would not be surprised if he does not play in this game. We've seen Whiteside get DNPs multiple times so far this season, so just be careful there with Whiteside. I do think he's a decent tournament play, but I have no idea how many minutes he plays if Holmes stays out of foul trouble. I think we might only get 10 to 15 from Whiteside. Halliburton at 4.9. I think Tyrese Halliburton is my favorite play in the Kings. Below 4.9, shooting guard's kind of weak. 31, 30, and 33 minutes. As long as we continue to get over 30 minutes for Halliburton, I think he's one of the better value plays in the slate. I do like him a good amount at that price. No thank you on Bagley. Harrison Barnes, you guys know my feelings on him. I have no idea what his production is. I don't get him as a player. This is I just have no idea what Harrison Barnes is doing. He started the year off amazing, went back to his old self, and now is back to being amazing again. So it's I am going to continue to avoid Harrison Barnes. If you want to go back there, fine. I'm just not going to risk it on this slate. And that's it for Sacramento. On the Miami side, so big news, Jimmy Butler will play, and there's no minutes limit. So it's how many minutes do we get from Jimmy, right? We got that news that he doesn't look like himself. He's lost weight. But, if we get 35 minutes out of Jimmy Butler in this spot, I think he could break the slate. So, another one of my favorite tournament plays being Jimmy Butler. Will we get 35 minutes? I'm not sure. They said there's no minutes limit. So, I would guess we get close to normal minutes. If he's like himself, 7-3 is just too cheap for this matchup. So, I really like Jimmy Butler in tournaments. I don't know if I can pull the trigger on him in cash games, but love him in tournaments. Hero with Jimmy back, I would personally rather take a shot on Jimmy. And then Nunn, kind of out of play now at that price. I think Bam Adebayo is fine. Would have liked him more if one or both of Jimmy or Hero were out. So that's it for Miami. Let's move on to Houston and New Orleans. Wood at 8-7. I think there's better center plays. Not completely out of play, but I'll pass. Oladipo, more of a contrarian play too. The guy that I like is John Wall at 6-8. I think he's going to fly under the radar. Now, there's a lot of good point guard plays tonight, so it's hard to really prioritize him. But he played 30 minutes last game. Went for 37 fantasy points. He's a good point per minute guy. I think those minutes might go up a bit, maybe 32 to 34 for John Wall. So I think he is also, you have John Wall, you have Zach LaVine, you have Jimmy Butler. Those are three of my favorite plays in tournaments. I like all three quite a bit. Cousins at 6'8", I'll pass. No thank you on Gordon and Eric Gordon. That's really it. All right, let's refresh Fantasy Labs. Let's make sure we're up to date. We are up to date. So moving on to the New Orleans side, The pricing on some of these guys is just, I don't know what DraftKings was thinking. So Ingram at 8-1, still, I would prefer Zion. Ingram he's been up and down. There's some games where he will stuff the stat sheet, and there's other games where he will literally have like no assists and no rebounds. So I just don't know what to make of it. I think Zion is a better point per dollar play. Now, Zion's going to be more popular. So like for tournaments, you can definitely make the argument to go Ingram over Zion. But for me, I think Zion is one of the best plays in the slate at 7-4. That is just too cheap against this Houston team. Really, really like Zion at that price. Bledsoe and Lonzo Ball, I also think are two of the better plays in the slate. Normally, these guys are a void, but let's take a look at the minutes here. 34, 36, and 34 minutes the last 3 games for Eric Bledsoe. Lonzo Ball, coming off the questionable tag, 35 minutes. Now, he did shoot 10 of 20, so like pump the brakes a little bit here. But 5K, if we get close to 35 minutes again, that is just way too cheap for Lonzo Ball. And if we get close to 35 minutes again for Bledsoe, that is also too cheap. So sure, these guys have been up and down, but it's like at these prices and with this matchup, I think they're two of the better plays on the slate. And I also like Steven Adams too. He played 38 minutes last game. 38 minutes for Steven Adams. He had 20 rebounds. So I think Steven Adams is a very safe play with some upside. I am really high on this New Orleans team. Hart, NAW, contrarian value plays, you can go there, but don't love them. So it's like Zion, Bledsoe, Lonzo, Steven Adams, even Ingram. I like the whole starting 5 here for New Orleans. I think they are all a little bit underpriced. I'm really high on this New Orleans team against Houston. Lakers and Boston. So we are still waiting on Anthony Davis, LeBron James news. AD is a guy that's more questionable. If they're both in, just cross off this slate and move. Cross off this game and move on. If Anthony Davis is out, you can make the argument for LeBron, but I still wouldn't prioritize him. I think Kuzma would be a decent play at 5K. Who played 30 minutes the last game, but still, neither of them would be priorities for me, even if AD is out. So like, I am very low on this game. I think it's going to be a good game to watch, not good game for DFS. On the Boston side, I'll make this really, really simple. I have zero interest in any of these Celtics. Zero. Don't think you go to anyone here, even in tournaments. It's not worth it, in my opinion. Let's move on to Memphis and San Antonio. So we go from my least favorite game to my favorite game of the slate, and this is not close. Love this Memphis team. I've heard people that are concerned about minutes for these Memphis Grizzlies so they haven't played in like over a week. I don't have concerns. It's not like they stopped playing basketball, right? Or they just like they stopped running. Like these guys are still going to be in shape. They're still like, they're not going to just like sit in the couch all day long. So it's like, I am not concerned with Ja Morant's minutes at 7-1. He played 31 and 34 minutes the last 2 games he has played. Unless we hear otherwise, unless we get a report that Ja Morant is going to be limited to like 30 minutes, then obviously we'll have to, look, or it'll make him, a little bit riskier. But cross out the slate, yeah. But Ja Morant at the moment, I just think he is way too cheap. I expect 35 minutes from him in this matchup. Absolutely love Ja. Again, I hear people that are slightly concerned. I don't have concerns. I love Ja Morant at that price. Dylan Brooks, Kyle Anderson, I'll pass. Brandon Clark in the mid-range at 7-1. I actually think is a pretty good play that goes overlooked. He's been a little up and down, but 30, 34, 30, and 35 minutes. There's no Jonas Valanciunas. I think minutes are pretty secure for him. I think he's a good play with some upside in this matchup. The last guy we'll mention is Xavier Tillman. He's going to be the chalk. As long as he starts at center, I think he's the best value on the slate, and it's not close. Played 29 minutes starting center last game. Love Xavier Tillman if he starts. Now, if we get news that Gorgie Jang is starting, then I don't like Tillman that much. Then I go to Gorgie Jang at 4-6. So it's like, whoever starts, I assume it's going to be Tillman. Right? I think the matchup is better for Tillman, too. The Spurs team is not huge. So, like, I think it's going to be Xavier Tillman. If he starts, he's the best value in the slate. On the San Antonio side, so DeMar DeRozan, DeJounte Murray were 2 of my favorite plays last slate. They are 2 of my favorite plays on this slate, too. I am not really worried about Derek White coming back. Derek White played, 23 minutes against the Lakers. DeJounte Murray still played 30 minutes in that game and wouldn't look back, and DeMar DeRozan still played 35 minutes. So I am not concerned about their minutes. I think with Derek White coming back, that hurts Patty Mills. That hurts Lonnie Walker, 2 guys that weren't really interested on the slate. DeRozan, small forward, is weak. He's going to play mid-30s minutes. It's a fantastic matchup. I love DeMar DeRozan on this slate, and I also love DeJounte Murray. I think they're 2 of the better plays on this slate. I think we get around 30 minutes from DeJounte Murray, maybe a little bit more. He's a guy that can stuff the stat sheet. So love Murray, love DeRozan at their respective prices. Everyone else should kind of stay away. If you want to take a shot on Keldon for GPPs, fine. He's been a little bit too up and down for me. He would be the third guy I would go to, but I would just rather have DeJounte. I'd rather have DeMar DeRozan. And that's it. That's it for me. Jakob Poeltl, maybe for GPPs. He's played 21 and 25 minutes 2 of the last 4 games. I think we'll get around 20. He's a decent point per minute guy, but I think there's too many good center plays in the slate for me to prioritize Jakob Poeltl. All right, let's move on to last couple games here. Real quick, though, guys, I'll ask if you enjoy this content to hit that like button. We are closing in on 450 viewers, 58 likes. Thank you, guys. All right, Phoenix and Dallas. So Phoenix side, there's no Devin Booker. I think DeAndre Ayton and Chris Paul are pretty solid plays below 8K. I expect 32-ish minutes for Chris Paul, which makes him, a decent play. Not a priority for me, but I think he's a decent play, a safer option. I do like DeAndre Ayton too. I think he's a guy that could have some upside here against this matchup. He's been up and down, but Ayton and Chris Paul are the guys for me. Everyone else, I don't know if I get to the wings here. Bridges, Crowder, Cam Johnson are like filler plays, but I think there's better plays in the mid-range for me to get really excited about any of those guys. Jay Crowder's been the best of the bunch. If you want to continue to ride that hot streak, sure. Again, I think there's better plays in the mid-range for me to get really excited about either of them. On the Dallas side, so let's refresh things. We're still waiting on Kristaps Porzingis news. He's a game-time decision. All right, Anthony Davis game-time decision. John Morant, Brooks, Anderson, Clark, and Tillman. Yeah, so Tillman starting at center. He's the best value in the slate. Really like John Morant, too. All right, on the Dallas side, so Luka Doncic at 10-7, I think is a good spend up here. If Porzingis is out, you could see one of those ceiling games here from Luka. He's been a little bit up and down, but the ceiling on him is higher than anyone on the slate. He's got 80-plus fantasy point ceiling. He's a guy that can break the slate. So, he's a scary fade. Right now, I don't have him in my lineup, but he's the guy that I'm the most scared about fading because he's a guy that can go for 80 any night. So, I really like Luka in tournaments if you're comfortable with enough of the value. Porzingis, if he plays, you could go to him in GPPs. If he gets ruled in after lock, he's going to be 1% owned, right? We saw it with Joel Embiid. That's why I love getting to players if they're questionable and they get ruled in way after lock. Again, just like Embiid last night. Embiid got ruled in. He was 5% owned, went for 60 fantasy points in 2.5 quarters. So, I'm not saying Porzingis is going to break the slate if he gets ruled in, but he will also be, probably 1%, if not below 1% owned. So, and he's 7-5. We've seen some upside games. Would have some interest in him in tournaments. The rest of the value plays for Dallas, if Porzingis is out, I think you could make the argument for Dwight Powell. If he starts at center, he's at min price. I would assume we probably get 20 minutes from him. I think James Johnson maybe gets a slight boost if Porzingis is out, but neither would be amazing plays. We'll just keep an eye on Porzingis. And then finally, Detroit, Golden State. So Jeremy Grant's a viable play. He's been their best player so far this season. I think he's an okay option at the top. DeLon Wright's too expensive for me. Derrick Rose back. I'm going to pass on Blake Griffin. I think Mason Plumlee is actually my favorite play on this Pistons team. He played 27 minutes that last game and also got in foul trouble. He missed out on a good amount of minutes. I think the plan is for him to play 25 to 30 minutes, maybe even a little bit more. And at 5'4", I think that is a little bit too cheap. So I actually do have some interest in Plumlee if he can stay out of foul trouble. He's a guy that's been in foul trouble a lot this year, so that is a concern. I will continue to fade Wayne Ellington. He'll probably continue to shoot 90% from the field. I'm really tired of this guy. People that continue to go to him, continue to get bailed out. I think he's one of the worst plays in the slate, in my opinion. He's not going to continue to shoot this well, but he will most likely shoot 90% and make me look dumb. Derrick Rose at 5K, I'll pass at that price. Everyone else will stay away from me on the Detroit side. Let's finish up with Golden State. Steph Curry is going to be low owned. This is an 8-game slate. There's better optimal plays in the slate than Steph Curry. But he might be 5% owned. And Steph Curry has 70 fantasy point upside, especially in this matchup. So it's I kind of like him for tournaments, right? He's going to fly under the radar. People are going to box score watch. They're going to see below 40 last couple games. So we know the upside's there from Steph Curry. Now let me make this clear, right? Like Levine, like John Wall, like Jimmy Butler, these guys are not optimal plays. But I think those four are my favorite plays in tournaments on the slate. I really like Steph in tournaments because I think ownership is going to be really low on him. Wiggins, Oubre, Draymond Green, I'll pass. Wiseman, you can make the argument for him for tournaments, but I think there's a lot of good center plays on the slate. And that's it. that's it for me on Golden State. So let's refresh Fantasy Labs and we'll get to some questions. Yeah. If you want to go to Blake Griffin, that's fine. I don't think Blake Griffin's the worst play. He's been too inconsistent for me. I know he had a big game last time. I will pass on Blake myself. No, I don't have concern with Zion. Zion, I think, is one of the best plays in the slate. Kuzma, if AD is out, Zeller or Halliburton. I think Zeller is the cash play. Halliburton's the tournament play. But either way, I think it would be Zeller or Halliburton. I think you could play both the ball brothers tonight. They're both cheap. Lonzo's way safer. But yeah, LaMelo's fine. Steph, yeah, so I'm personally not going to play Steph, but I think he's a really good GPP play. I do. Appreciate all you do. I never miss your content. If you were to, thank you, man. I appreciate that. If you were to pivot off Gordon Hayward for another Hornets player, who would you take? I think Cody Zeller is my favorite play in the Hornets. So Cody Zeller. For tournaments, I like LaMelo Ball. Again, minutes are way up and down. So those are the three guys I'm looking to in the Hornets. Plumlee or Lonzo. So I think the upside is a little bit higher on Lonzo. Now, guard is really loaded tonight, but I would rather have Lonzo than Plumlee. Favorite shooting guard in Draftkings besides Levine? So shooting guard's a little bit weak. Again, Levine in tournaments, I would not go to him in cash. I think Eric Bledsoe was a nice play in the mid-range. And I like Tyrese Halliburton. Those are probably the three guys I would consider on the slate for shooting guard. Pick 2. Murray, Wall, or Paul. So, Murray, Wall, or Paul. I'll go Murray and Wall. John Wall or DeJounte Murray and Jimmy Butler, Chris Paul, or Zion. All cash. So, John Wall or Murray and Jimmy Butler. I would rather have Murray in cash, I think, than John Wall, or Chris Paul or Zion. So Zion there. Lonzo, Steven Adams, or Plumlee. And Lonzo's the guy I think has the most upside. Cantor or Zion? Zion. Luka or Dame? Luka. I like them both a lot, though. Luka, if Porzingis is out, if Porzingis is in, it's close. Dame and Lonzo or Ja and Murray? Ja and Murray for me. I like the mid-range. Who would you take out of LeBron or Luka? LeBron. Favorite small forward, hold on. That one fast. Where at? Favorite small forward, guards. Wait, so favorite small forward in 7 to 8K range? It's DeMar DeRozan for me, number 1, and then probably Grant, then Hayward. Wall or Murray, I'm already playing DeRozan. Yeah, that's a tough one. I think I'll still go Murray, but that's close. I like them both. I personally like the balance build tonight. Pelicans team looking nice. Yeah, I think the Pelicans look really good. Zion or Jimmy, I'll give the edge to Zion, but Jimmy is one of my favorite tournament plays if he plays mid-30s minutes. Luka or Dame is tough. Yeah, that's a tough one. I'll go Luka right now, but it's close. Wall, Levine, DeRozan, Tillman, Zeller, Morant, Crowder, and Murray. Thoughts? I think it's a good lineup. Lonzo and Zeller or LaMelo and Whiteside? Lonzo and Zeller. Best shooting guard under 2K. Pairing Levine, Zion, DJ. Wait. What? I think this is the first time you're officially gave up on Draymond. I mean, I think there's better. Like, I would rather have. He's in a price range where there's just too many guys with way more upside. Like Lonzo Ball, Halliburton. There's just way better plays in that range, I think. Shooting guard under 3.2K. I personally wouldn't play anyone there. I don't think we have to. I just think you're sacrificing too much of your lineup to do that. There's no point. So I would move some stuff around. I would not play anyone in this range. No. Like, probably if I had to pick someone, it would be Damian Lee, who probably plays around 15 to 20 minutes. But I just think you're sacrificing too much going there that it doesn't make sense. We appreciate you, brother, and taking the time to go through the slate. I literally make sure I check your channel before Hey, thank you, man. I do appreciate that a lot. Thoughts on Wall, Bledsoe, DeRozan, Zion, Clark, Morant, Tillman, and Murray? I like that. Draymond is fine. He's a fine play, secondary option for me, a filler guy. Like, if you landed him as the last piece in, sure. Butler or DeRozan? DeRozan. But Again, that's because I'm more confident in DeRozan's minutes right now. Jimmy, they said no minutes limit, but like, will we get no minutes limit? I'm not exactly sure, which makes him a good GPP play. Which two to pay up for? Dame, Giannis, or Luka? And you're like splitting hairs there. I would say Luka 1 if Porzingis is out, and then Dame versus Giannis. I'll go Dame, but like that's close. Which Dallas center would you say is best? So I would think it would be Dwight Powell that starts. Whoever starts. I would assume it's Dwight Powell. Yeah, I don't think you had to play anyone in the late game. Kyle Anderson, I think there's better plays in the mid-range than going to Kyle Anderson and John Morant back. Like, we're probably going to get around 25 to 30 minutes. I think there's just better point per dollar plays than Kyle Anderson tonight. Which contest are you playing tonight? I usually play like $100 single entry in the big tournament on DraftKings. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but that's what I got going. Wall, Bledsoe, DeRozan, Tillman, Zeller, Morant, Zion, and Murray for cash. I think it's decent. Like I think John Wall is in play for cash. I think he plays probably at least 30 minutes. Yeah, everything else looks good to me. I like that a lot. Smash a like. Wall, thank you. Wall, Halliburton, Gordon Hayward, Tillman, Zeller, John, Giannis, and Lonzo Ball. I think that's good as well. Lonzo or Bledsoe? Lonzo because he's a little bit cheaper, but like I like them both a good amount. Power forward, small forwards, 5K and under. This is not a range I want to be in. So my advice to you I would rearrange something. I think playing someone in this range, you're sacrificing too much. So like if I had to pick someone, it would be Rocco. Or actually wait, Thad Young is 5K. I would say Thad Young. If you can get to Thad Young. But like if you had to go below that, I think I would move something around. Okay, it's going fast, so sorry if I missed some questions. Zion or Grant? I would go Zion. Levine and Bledsoe, or Tatum and DeJounte. Levine and Bledsoe. Favorite value center? Cody Zeller. Can you play Tillman and Clark? I think you can. Can't answer like 4 locks. You know, I obviously got to save that for Patreon, so can't answer that. Sorry about that. Halliburton or Ball? I think that's close. I think they're two of the better plays in the slate. I'll go Lonzo. I like the matchup a little bit better for him, but I like them both. Ball, Bledsoe, and Zion, too many Pelicans. I think you can play 3 tonight. I think you can. Carmelo's a secondary play with Covington back. Still think he's viable. Tatum or Wood? Don't love either. I would go Wood, though. Giannis is in play. Richardson, I'll pass. Chris Paul or Brown? Chris Paul. Beast of the night. I'm not Chris Beermaker fan. Murray, Plumlee, or LaMelo. Clark, Murray, Plumlee. Jalen or Victor? Victor. What are your thoughts on Josh Jackson? I don't think we have to go to Josh Jackson. Porzingis is playing or not. We're still waiting. Keldon or Oubre? Keldon. Giannis, Steph, Christian Wood. What Tillman is starting up. I like Tillman. Thoughts on Halliburton? I like him for value. I'll pass on Kyle Anderson. Whiteside, Pirtle, Giles, or Kaminsky. Whiteside, if I had to pick one of those guys. Yes, I only make one lineup. Porzingis out. Porzingis is out. Okay. We got that news. Cool. Sorry, guys if I missed some questions. It is going kind of fast. Porzingis is out. Fox, Seal, Barnes, Bagley, Holmes starting. All right, so we don't have the starting lineup news yet for Dallas, but I think whoever starts at center is a decent value, right? I would assume it would be Dwight Powell. Whiteside revenge, you can go there. He played 20 minutes because of foul trouble, so be a little bit careful. But like if I knew he was going to play 20 minutes again, I would like Whiteside. I'm not going to go to Otto Porter. 3,500 shooting guard or small forward. Again, I don't think that's the range I'd want to be in. My advice would be to move something around. Yeah. Well, Tillman if you don't have him, but like other than that, I would move something around. I think you're sacrificing too much if you go someone other than Tillman there. 4,600 and forward. Let's see. It's another spot where I think I would move something around too. I don't like anyone in this range. Maybe James Johnson. Maybe James Johnson with Porzingis out might play a little bit more. So I guess if I had to pick one, it would be James Johnson there. I don't love it, but I would say James Johnson. Morant or Wall? Morant, but I do like both. Yeah, I think James Johnson might play a little bit more. Draymond or Zeller? I will go Zeller. Simon's in play, contrarian option for me. Would DK, Steven Adams, or Plumlee? That's a good question. I'll go Plumlee, but that's really close. And the only reason I say Plumlee is I like the Pelicans a lot, and I don't want to have like every single player, but that's close. Zeller over to Dwight Powell, yeah. Levine, yeah, I like Levine a lot for tournaments. Ellington or DiVincenzo, I wouldn't play either personally. Biggest money invested ever in DFS between FanDuel DK. Just wanted to say thank you for the daily content, keep running. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Are you asking me what's the biggest money I've invested? I've put about $1,000 in a slate before. Morant, Halliburton, Butler, Tillman, Whiteside, Murray, DeRozan, and Lillard thoughts? It's a good GPP lineup, right? Whiteside's risk. Told you about that. Like, he might only play 10 minutes. Jimmy Butler is no minutes limit, but will we get normal minutes? I'm not entirely sure, but I like the upside there. Luka, Lonzo, or Levine, and DeJounte. I think Luka and Lonzo is a little bit safer, but I like both options. Watanabe, yeah, Boucher it's just hard to trust him right now. And Watanabe, I said he was one of the worst players. He's actually been playing decent. Like, I will give him credit. He's actually been playing decent. Luka over Dame now in cash. I think I would give the edge to Luka now. I think so, yeah. James Johnson or Jay Rich. I would rather go James Johnson, I think. Powell or Willie Cauley-Stein. I would say whoever starts. I assume it's going to be Dwight Powell. We'll see. Jay Rich or Brunson. Jay Rich. No, I think Zach LaVine will be low on. That's why I like him for tournaments. I like Tillman a lot. I think Clark is not a must play, but you could play them both if you want to. Do you like Tyler Hero? I would probably rather have Jimmy Butler if I was going to pick one. Jay Rich or no Porzingis might play a little bit more. You can go to it. My one concern is like all those secondary plays for Dallas have kind of been limited so far. We need that Paris DK collab. Yeah, maybe in the future. We'll see. 8.4K left. Fox, Brown, or Oladipo. Oladipo if I had to pick between those three. Thoughts on Ja, Halliburton, DeRozan, Zion, Ayton, Lonzo, Butler, and Tillman. I like that a lot for GPPs. Wood or Tatum, Wood. Luka, Hayward, Butler. Luka/Hayward, Butler, or Dame and Zion. Luka and Butler for tournaments. I would say Dame and Zion more for cash. The one reason I don't know if I can play Jimmy in cash is because we just haven't seen him in a while. And again, those reports that he doesn't look 100%. But if he plays, again, if Jimmy Butler plays 35 minutes tonight, I think he could have a really nice day in that matchup. Tony Snell game. No. Blake, I'm going to pass on Blake. I know he had a good game last time. I think there's too many good plays in the mid-range. Value play down at center if you use Wall, Levine, Curry, Butler. Cody Zeller. Sorry if you already answered this. Should I play Zeller or Draymond from the last player in GBP? I think I'd rather have Zeller point per dollar, but if you leave, that's like leaving $700 on the table. So it's like, if price doesn't matter, that's almost an identical play, right? But like, if price matters, I prefer Zeller Price. Hardaway Jr., he's just too score independent for me. He could have a good game, but yeah, you can go there in GPPs. He doesn't do much besides score the ball. Lonzo and Hayward or Halliburton and Zion, I'd rather have Halliburton and Zion. CP3 or Ayton, I would rather have Ayton. Josh Hart's okay value. Okay value, not a must play by any means. Butler or Murray, Turney, Jimmy Butler. I like them both though. Luka and Powell or Cantor and Zion. Cantor and Zion. Dame and Lonzo or Levine and DeJounte. Good question. I think I would rather have Levine and DeJounte there. I'm not going to go to Josh Jackson. Boban. Yeah, Boban might play. He might play a little bit. Who would you take out of Jimmy, Zion, or Hayward? I think Hayward there. Dame a good cash play. I think you can play Dame in cash. I think I would rather have Zion than Dame, but it's close now. No interest in Nasir Little. Wall. I think it's a balanced build for me tonight. Wall, Bledsoe, DeRozan, Zion, Clark, DeJounte Murray, Tillman, and Ja good for GBP. I think it's perfectly fine. Ayton, Cantor, or Wood. Cantor because he's the cheapest of the bunch. Lonzo or Thad Young in cash. Lonzo. Crowder or Clark. Clark if you can get to him. Rather have Clark. All right, guys, a couple more questions, then I do it to get out of here. Any interest in Jeremy Grant? Some interest in him. He's had some big upside games. It is a good matchup. So, yeah, some interest. Rose, THJ, or Ellington in the late game. Of those three, I guess I'd go THJ. Because I think if he's getting a shot going, he probably has the most upside. But I don't really like any of them, to be honest. 4,400 in guard might be a spot where I say you have to move some stuff around. Let's see. 4,400 in guard. Yeah, so if I think it would be Simons, because I think he gets mid-20s minutes. Again, I don't love the play, but I think it would be either Simons or J. Rich, and hope J. Rich plays more. Like right now, 24, 25 minutes, right? So it's like, I don't love either. I guess it would be Simons for me. No thank you, Kobe White. Minutes been too inconsistent. 5,400 for utility. All right, guys, couple more questions. 5,400 utility. I would go Mason Plumlee there. Yes, I think Derek White playing that affects Lonnie Vassell and Patty Mills. 6K and under. I think the answer for that, let's see. 6K and under. I will go Eric Bledsoe there. Jimmy Butler or Hayward. I like the matchup better for Jimmy, so hope he gets his normal minutes. I'll go Jimmy. No thank you on AD. Appreciate what you do, man. Thanks. Thank you. I appreciate that. Wall or DeMar. That's a really close one. I'll go DeMar, but they're two of my favorite plays in the slate, Wall and DeMar DeRozan. Wall, Halliburton, DeRozan, Clark, Adams, Levine, Tillman, and Morant. I like that. Morant, I would not play Patty Mills. I would not play Patty Mills. Everything else is fine. I wouldn't play Patty Mills. Zeller or Tillman in the utility. Well, point per dollar, I prefer Tillman. I think he's the best value in the slate. But those are two of my favorite value plays. Keldon Johnson or LaMelo. They're both good tournament plays. Both have been up and down. I'll go LaMelo, I guess. They're strictly tournament plays. LaMelo, and hope he gets 30 minutes. John Morant, Luka, Levine, Halliburton, Melo, Anderson, Clark, Covington, and Zeller. Is that Kyle Anderson? Because I don't love Kyle Anderson. I don't really love Covington either. So like those are the two that I'm like, 5K utility, yeah, I think it would be Lonzo Ball. I think he's at 5K. Right? Is he at 5K? Yeah, Lonzo Ball. Yes, I like DeJounte Murray. Plumlee or Halliburton, that's a good question. I think they're almost identical plays. I like them both for value. I think Halliburton might have a little bit more upside. Has more minutes upside. Wood or Levine. Ayton, yes, I do like DeAndre Ayton. Luka, Halliburton, DeRozan, Tillman, Powell, Wall, Sterling Brown, Dame. I would not play Sterling Brown. PJ Washington or Clark, 6,700 and utility. All right, this is the last question, guys, and I do have to get out of here. 6,700 and utility. I will say, let's see. DeJounte Murray at 6,300. All right. Good luck to everyone tonight, guys. I appreciate you guys coming to check out the live stream. We had I think we had 450 viewers, 113 likes. Good luck tonight. Keep an eye on that news. Keep an eye on the Dallas starting lineup. Again, whoever starts the center, I would prefer them for value for Dallas. I'd assume would be Powell, but we'll have to see. So yeah, have a good night, guys. Hope you guys all have a nice night, and I will see you guys all later.